So this is an evaporative cooler, swamp cooler I designed. That was a second fan I put in. At first I had a larger automobile fan, but it was really loud. And it was a 12 volt, and it seemed to be getting fairly warm. So I found this one online. It wasn't cheap. I think it was like 50 bucks at least, 60 bucks. And they're a lot more than that when you buy them new. I got it on eBay. That was actually designed for a John Deere tractor. It's a 24 volt fan. So it was working fine, and then all of a sudden it just stopped working about a week ago. Well, we're going to have about 112 degrees here in a few days, and I don't know how long it's going to last, and it may go up to 115 for all we know. Now this pump here has been real good too. I have two of these. It's a 24 volt pump, so it runs off directly off the solar panels. So like I said, this is the steam table, food restaurant steam table tray for the bottom. That's it down there. And this is a smaller steam table tray that I pop riveted this half by half angle, cut them in a 45. And it works perfect for the top. So it's real easy to maintain, get the pads out. Not like any of the swamp coolers they designed that I've seen. So I tried to design this to where it was fairly easy to disassemble and work on everything. The pads come right out, real easy. I don't have a drain plug. It would have maybe been nice, but I kind of like it not having one, because then you don't have that possibility of leaking also. But I'm not sure what happened here. It's been so long since I put this together. Well, I can see the connections all covered with corrosion, so it's a good chance that's all that's wrong with it right there. I'd say this is the culprit. I'm about 99% sure this is all that was wrong with it. It was all corroded. It was protected by this encasement, but not that well. Not when water's spraying on it. And I didn't realize it. Some things you just don't catch, and you gotta wait. It didn't engineer it quite correctly. So I'm just going to strip these wires back. I'm not going to use that connection, obviously, or another one like it. I'm just going to solder these connections together. That way they're solid. So I've got plenty of solder. You need a lead-based solder for electrical, low voltage electrical. It works best, because this other stuff, where's it at? Silver solder. Oh, here it is. This is real good also, but it's a high temperature, and you almost got to melt burn the wire coating and everything just to get this to melt. So it's a good product, but it just takes more heat. Got plenty of shrink wrap and all my little supplies. And here, backup fans. Let me see, I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And of course I got a float in here, so it never runs out of water. Just turn it on, you're good to go for the whole summer. So all this diamond plate I cut on the bandsaw and pop riveted all together. I used different angles and whatever I could find at Home Depot. They had everything I needed, actually. They got some channels. There's a channel here, 1x1 angle. I got 3/4 by 3/4, and just whatever was appropriate for what. So I use these cardboard pads. I'll show you how this thing goes together. I gotta clean them up, get the dog fur off. This was all new with this model, all new concepts and things. So I have this shroud I made. It goes one way. I don't remember which way. And this is where it really got cool. And with using these right here. And it was working fine, but then this part started jamming up. I drilled it out a little bit and all. So I just took them off and it was still working okay. I think I'll just put like a little cone here and it'll just hit there and splash out. So how it works is this tube goes down through a hole here, connects to another tube, and then it connects to the pump. That's it right there. And it was just really neat. You could open this up and it'd be spraying like just like two little sprinklers in there. So I was proud of that one. This tubing is just a standard swamp cooler tube. It comes in a pack. It's a spider set. So I get like 8 of them in a pack for 10 bucks or something. Real cheap. This tank feeds this Bon Air swamp cooler that I switched over to 12-volt computer fans when I lost all my batteries. As you can see, I have these fans in all my little greenhouses and the larger greenhouses. Now this is a prototype that I probably shouldn't even show anybody, but at this point I just don't know that I'll ever get some of these projects patented, and it wasn't finalized anyway, but it did work. So the concept here is I have copper tubing. Copper and aluminum dissipate heat. They're the two best metals. So this is an evaporative cooler air conditioner. Well, the reason I call it air conditioner because no moisture goes into the home or whatever you connect this to. Now, like I said, this was just a prototype, so I had to use this spray bottle, and I would spray it like this. Get all soaked up, and then the fans would evaporate the water off of these tubes. And then I had 2 fans here, one intake and one outlet. So it would circulate the air through those tubes and back out. And by golly, it was working. I can't remember what the actual temperature drop was, but it worked. So the concept works. So here I have a switch for the pump, switch for the fan, and a voltage meter. Okay, don't mind the mess back here. It matches the rest of the property. All it was those bad wires. The shroud is probably the ugliest thing on it, but oh well, it keeps the dog's nose from getting chopped off. I never did finish up and make a nicer one, but so the pump's working. We got 27.1 volts. It's a 24 volt. It's running a little strong. What the heck? Be that much cooler. Pump. Voila.